Mm,
Experience culmination fragment.
no.
View which journal entry.
Did we read all of them? That was ahead of time. So yeah, I know that the sections between chapters are quite long, but it's okay because now I know I also can save at any given point, so that's okay.
Would you like to change the status of the nostalgia filter?
Also, most of the women in the movie have exposed breasts. Nowadays, this would get censored as fuck, but it's completely fine, as it makes sense in African tribal villages. Yeah, it does, but then again, it's like, wait, let's... You know, Davamir, the one funny part is America's like blood, murder. It's alright. Violence. It's alright. An exposed female breast nipple? No! How could you? Think of the children. And Europe is the opposite. Like, violence, gore, and anything like that, censored. It's a naked breast, it's fine. So weird. We did all the scenes, we did all this, we did also all of those, and yeah.
Experience culmination fragment. Wayfarers.
Violence is fine, nipple is a sin, yes. But also this. Take naked woman and put black tape over nipples and she's not naked anymore. It's okay at that point. You know, at that point I made the joke of like, okay, so we can take man naked and put black tape over his nipples and it's gonna be fine, right? Because it counts not as naked anymore. This is so weird. Thank you for choosing Argus. Our future, our way. Our future, your way. I should be fine being in the lower left corner. As soon as we enter the Wayfarer, we are asked to show our ID. Of course, we all oblige, except for Isaac and Chiron. I can see that their infiltration was already successful. The security guard gives us a nod and as we each scan our phones. A picture of our face and name pops up, which he compares to us in person. Obviously we pass, and a few moments later we are officially in. It's an interesting sight seeing Isaac and Chiron sitting at the table. A zero breaking bread with city folk. Is this how things were before Komorebi? Back then, before the system, everybody could have existed in unity. Of course, that's just wishful thinking, I know the truth. The world was on the brink of all-out war before the visions came. I guess there will always be conflict and social divides, no matter what. It's almost like we are fixated on our needs to be different or superior. At least that's what... Can I English, please? It's not difficult. At least that's the way August thinks, making the zeros grovel in the streets. I would never look down on Chiron, and even public opinion supports the Zeros. Perhaps we are approaching unity for the first time in history. The sight before me only enforces that this peace is attainable.
Took your sweet time, I see.
We're not living in the fast lane like you.
Huh, should I slow down?
Nah, wouldn't be nearly as fun.
We all pull out a chair and sit down at the table.
So, you all want a round?
I'm down.
What do you recommend?
A screwdriver would be nice.
I don't know this drink.
It's like orange juice and vodka.
What's vodka?
It's like orange juice and happiness.
Oh no. Vodka is happiness. Vodka is happiness. Then again, vodka is the least terrible alcohol you can drink. True. You know, the thing is, I don't drink alcohol. Like, I did drink alcohol in my life. Of course I did. But now I don't drink alcohol. I only do it occasionally when it is a thing that happens on the occasion itself. Let's say I'm invited to a dinner and they have wine. So that's okay. Or New Year and you get a glass of champagne. That's fine. But like just for shit and giggles, I actually don't drink alcohol anymore. I also don't miss it in any shape or form. Because alcohol is not doing anything for you. Still, it will help you lower like some social barriers. But honestly, it's not healthy or doing anything for you. But I will be honest, sometimes I wonder if I just should buy a bottle of alcohol. Just for that. Not like, oh god, I have a bottle of alcohol and I'm gonna down the entire thing. But like for occasions. But it did make the UI so scuffed when everything else looks great. In what way? Because the lines are not straight across the screen? Is that what throws you off? As I wait for your answer.
Sure, I'll take it.
Round of screwdrivers then?
Will not, implying that it's time for Chiron to go. If he ordered, then he and got ID'd successfully, then we'd be in the clear. Feels like such a risky play, but Isaac's confidence is contagious.
This better be a real drink. If you're pranking me, I'm gonna get you back.
Cross my heart.
Hope to die?
I wouldn't go that far.
We'll see.
He leaves the table and starts walking toward the bar.
He sure likes a joke about Argus killing us, huh? Joking about serious stuff is a valid way to cope. There's gotta be a better way. Yeah, I said valid, not the best.
Speak for yourself, guys. I don't mind my life being used as a punchline.
That is the most Isaac thing you've ever said.
It makes me sad. So it's the lines, right? I don't see the problem. Like, because the lines are not like nicely horizontal. I don't see a problem in that because the lines do not block anything of importance. It's okay. But it's also okay if you dislike it. That's valid. That's okay.
Speaking of Argus, I have a question.
What's up?
Clace is looking down at his diary, but keeping it turned away from us. I can see his eyes scanning the pages like he's catching up on notes. The lines, the Palin colors, the stock buttons, plain. It doesn't always have to be complex. This is also a visual novel game. What do you want? Like, the best thing is to go with simple things. Like, what do you need more than a config button, a save and load feature? I agree, you could potentially make it better. You could. But is it necessary? Not really. Because my attention is here, like in the middle of the screen. I don't really pay much attention to this. I don't really pay too much attention to the lines. But I understand why people might notice and go like, ah! I get that. Buttons should not punch you in the face, as they look like near zero effort was given to make it look nice. Yeah. You also have to keep in mind the majority of this game. Like, I'm not gonna say you're wrong. You're right. It could look better. Definitely could look better. But also you have to keep in mind the majority of this game has voice acting. And voice actors are expensive. This is not just one voice actor, this is like 6 voice actors. So I think the majority of the budget went into background, writing, and voice acting. What inconsistency? Because they used 3 different colors for the interface? You can see his eyes scanning the pages while he's catching up on notes.
Remember that incident report you mentioned? Are you sure you didn't notice anything weird about it?
Almost certainly.
Alright. Did you check out my profile?
No? I'd never snoop.
Yeah, snooping is bad. Wouldn't want you seeing all the mischief I get up to.
You? Mischief?
It's quickly becoming my middle name.
We all look at each other for a moment, thinking the exact same thing.
Wait, what is your name? I know it's definitely not Clace.
Clace, by the way, made this game. Clace is also that character. Clace is also the voice actor of that character. Everything else than the UI was given a similar amount of effort. The UI looks like 5% effort. The UI also makes less than 1% of the game. Like, here, the only thing I would say that would be nice to have would be here, a screenshot of the current screen I am at, as a visual indicator where this is, apart from the time, which is of course more important. But do I need a special good looking interface for my save screen? I don't think so. Yeah, it's on the screen, I get it, but it doesn't bother me, because I simply ignore it, because my attention is in the middle of the screen, not here. But I get that it can be distracting for certain people. I get that. It would probably be far better if they removed these 3 buttons, made one button, something like here, that doesn't stick really much out, is more like in the background, might only highlight if I move my cursor on it, and then opens like a tab for those 3 things. Granted, that would be the easier solution. The other thing is, I don't know, like this here uses the usual visual novel engine, which has a strange name, but I have no idea how exactly that engine works, how it allows you to place things on it. It's certainly in contrast to the previous game, which was Winds of Change, a step back. Like in Winds of Change, you didn't have something like this. If I remember correctly, there was either a very unobvious button, or you had to press escape. I think it was pressing escape, and then it changed the entire screen to the save function and so on. I think I can imagine, let's put it this way, I can imagine that they might thought it would be nice to put something down here so it's not completely empty, because in comparison here you have at least the date here. And they thought like, look, we put the 3 most important things here, so it doesn't A, look so empty, and B, it's easy accessible. Because the solution I just called you, like making here a symbol that you click on and then you have to choose one of those, is 2 clicks versus it's 1 click. The less clicks you need to use to get through any interface is better. But even then, they could have put a bit more effort into those to make them look better. That I agree, but this is all like speculation. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's definitely not.
What is it then?
Hey, don't pry like that, Dante. Unless you want to tell us your real name too.
Hitting the brakes.
Thought so.
I guess Dante isn't his real name either. Oh well, I'll still call him by his chosen name. I get that. I prefer my online name over my real name as well. They offered the same courtesy by calling me Delta after all.
I guess I was just curious what you saw. Did it flag me as my real account or my burner account?
Burner, for sure.
Good to know.
He scribbles down some notes in his diary. It's so interesting how lost he seems to be in that thing. If I didn't know any better, I would actually find it a little suspicious. As a small silence ensues, I decide to ask him about it.
Oh, this? It's just for memories. You know, so I can look back one day.
Maybe we could take some pictures or videos?
Well, those can be spread all over the place. This is strictly private. For my eyes only.
Makes sense.
That's fair. He's probably writing about how annoying we are.
Maybe how annoying you are.
You know, I wouldn't even complain.
Before the conversation continues, Chiron returns with a tray. As he places it down on the table, I get my first look at the screwdrivers, and then we order wine so we can use those screwdrivers. Which makes no sense because they are screwdrivers and not cork drivers. Thank you, Brain. They were barely even orange. It's like a glass of vodka and a splash of juice. Oh, good.
I told you they don't mind pouring extra.
Yeah, guess I'm off the deep end here.
He grabs his glass and holds it up with a smile.
Ready to get this started?
Get this started and then the entire bar burns down. Whoops. The screwdrivers are half empty by now, and I can feel it in my head. You feel it after half of the glass. I would feel it after probably 2 sips. I'm a lightweight, by the way. Like, it's so easy to get me tipsy. Like, give me a glass of champagne and I drink from it like twice and I already feel it in my head. Like, champagne is horrible. It's mostly horrible because it has gas in it, which I think makes it far more stronger than it should be. I definitely don't think I would be drinking as much as I did at the nightclub. Glances are exchanged as stories of the good old days are told.
Didn't know you were that into cosplay, Dante.
Of the good old days. Back in my day, no, not back in my day, back in the olden days, everything was better. Like, we had no modern medicine, we died because of the most stupidest things like a cold, which we still can die from, by the way. Our children didn't survive, we had still to forage and fight for food and drink. Yeah. So much better back then.
Oh, yeah, of course. That's actually how I ended up meeting Isaac. He had a bit of a fanboy moment when he saw me.
Wait, what's cosplay?
Costume play. Like dressing up as others.
Interesting.
He strikes a pose like he's thinking. He does that a lot.
So if we traded clothes, we'd be cosplaying each other?
Well, not really. We're not fictional characters.
I love when the game makes fun of itself. Yeah, you're real. Fairies are real, right? Right? Make a choice.
You know, sometimes it feels like I am.
Huh?
You know, putting on an act while I perform and keeping that persona going during interviews.
Oh, makes sense to me.
So I could cosplay as Clays?
There's no way you could pull his stage outfit off.
I reckon I could pull it off in a couple different ways, actually.
Wow, you're all so smooth. I'm flattered. But we were talking about Isaac's fanboying.
No, we definitely weren't. That phase of my life is so over.
So easy. So easy to flatter Isaac. It's adorable.
I can attest to that one. He was pretty timid by the time he met me. I never actually heard the story of how you two met, though I imagine it's a low point in the saga of our universe.
Probably the lowest, yeah. I was working and he basically broke in the front door. All he said was, "Help me!" But that's all I needed to hear.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Like, usually I also adopt people that break into my front door and say, "Help me." That makes perfect sense, right?
You do seem to have a penchant for helping people in need.
Makes it easier to fall asleep at night. But yeah, a bunch of fans were chasing him down. So I let him hide in the back of my store and I drove him home.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so it was the front door of the store, not his house. Oh no.
How did you know he wasn't just some creep?
Well, he is.
Fair.
But I knew his intentions were pure. And even if they weren't, I've got a bat in my trunk.
Damn, son.
Like you could take me in a fight.
I couldn't. Hence the bat. Actually, it's still in my trunk, even today. So, make sure to remember that next time you cross me.
Sheesh.
Do you always talk like this? I mean, it kind of seems like y'all hate each other.
Actually, hate is now a valid form of love.
Among them, it is. Yes. I actually like the group dynamic between these people.
Well, then I'm head over heels. Don't worry, I hate you too.
Tina blushes and the subject is abruptly changed.
How'd you meet Delta then?
Oh, we've been friends online for a long time. We were chatting on and off throughout all these stories. As soon as they mentioned they wanted to move, I invited them over.
One big happy family, huh?
I'd say so.
Aren't you forgetting someone?
Tilts his head toward Clays in an inconspicuous fashion.
Right. I actually met Clace through Taylor's stream. Figured I'd offer to house him while he took a break from work.
And then there's me.
Keep saying you will bring a lot of stories to the table.
Trust me, you already have. We talk about you quite a bit in the group chat.
Good things, I hope.
Sure, let's go with that.
Am I allowed to join it, by the way? You've piqued my interest now.
That's a hard maybe. Let me think about it a little more.
But let me delete this and that and this and that and that.
All right, then think away.
He grabs his cup and chugs the rest of his drink.
Hey, y'all down for a game?
What'd you have in mind?
Well, there's something we used to play back on the colony. It'd help us to get to know each other better.
Really? We played a game like that at the nightclub last week. I'm down for more, though. It's fun to learn all about you.
He grips the pen in his paw as he speaks, like he's ready to write more.
I'm game.
I'm so down.
Sounds good to me. What are the rules?
It's pretty simple, but we can make it more interesting. How about I grab another round? Yeah, you know, for punishments.
Let me guess. We have to reveal private information about ourselves. And if we don't want to, then we risk getting blackout drunk.
Hey, you'll be spilling your guts either way.
I don't like that it is in red. Like, so far the game has been quite tame. with the entire story, but it always gives like these specific colored hints, which makes me think like the game is gonna take a turn for the far worse towards the last 2 chapters.
Gross.
With a smirk, Karen goes off to order us another round. I assume Isaac loaded his account with some money to spend. Maybe I'll get the next round. I wouldn't want him to go broke so fast. It's actually pretty cool how I'm learning about the life of the on the colony. They even have games to learn about your friends, just like we do. In fact, I'm willing to bet that the game Karen wants to play is pretty similar. I finish the rest of my screwdriver and await his return. Every minute that passes, I'm more confident that we are in the right. All of the Zeros should be able to experience what we've given Chiron. Whether Cypher or Argus whether by Cypher or Argus's hands, it needed to happen. It needed to happen. Oh, actually, yeah, it puts the characters in, so that's okay. A second screwdriver sits in front of me as Karen looks at us with a smirk. It seems like we'd be playing a questions game again, but with some colony flair. Makes perfect sense, of course. Taking in a Zero meant learning about their culture. But it seems like, technology aside, their culture wasn't too different from our own. So no matter what was about to come my way, I think I'd be prepared.
All right. Okay, this one's called Raise Your Hand. I'll explain the rules and take the first turn.
We all know.
When it's your turn, you make a statement. Raise your hand if, and then finish the sentence. If the statement applies to you, you raise your hand.
Seems simple enough.
It's kinda like Never Have I Ever.
Hey, there's a bit more to it than that, though. You get to ask a follow-up question afterward, like why someone raised their hand, or even why they didn't.
Great. Can't wait to be put on the spot again.
This could actually be a bit more entertaining. No cards to play by, so we can go for the throat by default.
Please don't.
Well, I think Chiron's stepping up to bat. How about we let him set the tone for all this?
I'm planning to keep it pretty simple, actually, at least at first, so I know you're telling the truth.
All right, but when do we drink?
I didn't think that far ahead. I just thought it'd make things more fun.
How about if we're caught lying? Or if we refuse to answer the follow-up question?
I'm down for that. I'll just be sipping, though. Gotta take it easy after the nightclub last week.
And to prepare for the quantum leap. New Year's Eve is always a big day for booze.
Good thing I helped you carry all those bottles home, huh?
Couldn't have done it without you, man.
He holds his glass up before taking a sip, like he's saying cheers. We all do the same, and then look over at Chiron. It was time for the game to begin.
Raise your hand if you think your visions are set in stone, like literally fate, impossible to change.
This one is pretty easy for me, since I've never had a vision. But almost everything I know tells me that they aren't set in stone. This is mirrored by the fact that nobody raises their hand. I guess he wasn't lying when he said he would start with a simple one. But even lie detector tests start with some easy questions to ground you. I think it was for peace of mind, so he knows we are taking things seriously. He smirks like the test was effective.
Kind of figured as much. I can tell you don't like being told what to do, whether it's Argus or even your own future.
Yep. We even made a pact to defy our visions. Didn't like the fact that we weren't a part of each other's.
A pact? Really?
Yep. Well, except for Delta, of course.
Aaron looks at me a little confused. This is when I tell him that I haven't had a vision.
Oh, really?
He laughs nervously and rubs the back of his head.
But I'm not sure how to take that, so either my condolences or congratulations.
I shrug. It doesn't really bother me being the odd one out. But it makes me feel very left out when topics like this come up.
I think I'm gonna choose, Clace for my follow-up.
Me? Really?
Yeah. Why don't you think our visions are real? Surely you're still a pop star in your own.
I guess.
But...
Well, it was still my choice to pursue this life. It's not like anyone held a gun to my head and told me to sing.
Then why did you?
The comfort and security, I guess? It seemed a lot less risky than my other options. But at the end of the day, I still had those other options. So it was more like a blueprint that I chose to follow. Or maybe it was like following in someone else's footprints. I still have the power to turn around and forge my own path.
Do you really, though?
I think I've already said enough. Remember, it was one follow-up question?
That's fair, and we all agree with a single nod.
Well then, who'll go next?
I have a pretty good one, actually.
Go for it.
Oh no. Oh no. A smirk appears on Dante's face that I can only describe as evil.
Raise your hand if you've slept with somebody at this table.
Ah. Well, that would be Dante, Isaac, what was his name? Bunny boy. It's not gonna be me. The interesting part is to see if Chiron or Clace are going to raise their hand. Or should I say paw? Oh my. Obviously I don't raise my paw. But to my surprise, Taylor was his name. Isaac, Taylor, and Clace all raised their... Okay, interesting. Okay, interesting. With whom did Clace sleep? Let's see. Clace actually got introduced through Taylor into the group, so there is a high chance it was Taylor. But she's but Clace is also a lot. It's hard to say. It could be all three of them. Because Dante is a huge fan of Clace. Taylor introduced Clace into the group. And, well, Isaac seemed always to get along with Clace very well. Oh no. All eyes are on Clace despite the fact that multiple paws are raised.
Hey, Isaac and Taylor raised their hand too.
Wait, so you slept with both of them? Oh, interesting. Isaac and Taylor raised their paw too.
They live here. You've been here for like a week.
I hate this game.
He takes a big sip of his drink, an advanced refusal to answer any follow-ups. The entire table bursts into laughter, obviously except for Glaze. I feel bad for him. All he did was be honest with the crew.
Hey, I got a good one. Less embarrassing, at least.
Oh, no, Isaac. You have to wait. There is a follow-up question first.
Yes, please.
Isaac smiles and preemptively raises his hand.
Raise your hand if you think we're doing the right thing.
Boring. I think it's not Dante and Clays. I think because I don't think that Dante has a reason to be mean toward Clays. But he might have been interested to see if someone else slept with Clays. He tilts his head toward Chiron. A moment later, everyone raises their paw.
Unanimous, huh? Well, I'm kind of flattered.
Can't be surprised, though, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure we're all in this together.
Whether we like it or not, I might add.
Yeah, but we're doing the right thing for sure. This time, the right thing just happens to go against Argus.
Right. Well, I guess it's time for my follow-up.
He looks directly at me and points his finger in a dramatic fashion.
Why do you think we're doing the right thing, Delta? It was a tie between you and Chiron, but he's kind of biased.
Whew. Society has to move forward even if it goes against the status quo. Unity is important. We should celebrate our differences, not punish them. Argus is too old-fashioned. If they don't adapt, they'll just become obsolete. Sorry. I think everybody deserves a chance to start fresh, just like me. Just feels right, like this is what we are supposed to be doing. I'm gonna choose something else than the last option. The last option is like, pick me. And I still have a feeling that because there's a nostalgia filter that you can activate, that this nostalgia filter is actually doing something that makes you choose specific choices. So, I will go with this. Unity is important. We should celebrate our differences, not punish them. Everyone nods and smiles at my answer.
Couldn't have said it better myself. I actually dig this game, Chiron. Good idea.
Don't mention it. Gotta repay you somehow, after all.
A moment later, Clay slaps his paw down on the table.
Oh, I got one. Raise your hand if you think I should sing karaoke.
Curious question, and nobody raises their paw. I was probably checking if any of us thought we were under suspicion. What a clever way of checking in with the group while remaining under the radar.
Well, then I have a follow-up for Chiron. How'd it go when you ordered the screwdrivers?
Just as expected, actually. Scanned my phone, heard a beep, and I was good to go. Could have used a hand with the tray, but I understand.
Oh, gotta love the validation. Everyone here kept doubting me.
I was a little scared, to be honest, but you definitely know what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm kind of a prodigy.
Smile.
Yeah, slow down, Isaac. Anyway, who's next?
Like literally like getting put into place, like, yeah, okay, slow down, it's okay. Stop with the self-praising all the time.
I wouldn't mind taking a turn.
Oh god, here we go. Here comes something from Taylor.
I don't know if that's a good idea.
I agree. I mean, Dante's one wasn't better.
I don't know him that well, and even I agree.
Hey, I promise to play gentle. I have a good question, I promise.
Uh-huh. Silence ensues, as if it's a challenge for him to prove his word.
Raise your hand if you're jealous of somebody at this table.
Oh no. That literally tells me that Clays and Taylor slept together, and he wants to see that Dante is raising his paw. Because Dante is certainly jealous of that. Oh, that's a pretty good one. Smile. In unison, everybody raises their paw.
Kind of figured as much. We're built to want the stuff that other people have. But now, I gotta figure out who to put on the spot.
He's gonna choose Dante, isn't he? We all seem fine with answering, so there's no easy target.
Let's go with Clace.
That was my
Curiosity
second.
is getting the better of me.
Yeah, that was like my second guess, but I didn't say it.
Again? Really?
To be fair, you didn't answer last time, so I think this is better. Less embarrassing, too.
That's fair. But honestly, my answer is all of you. I'm jealous of everybody at this table.
Even me?
Especially you. This whole idol thing can really take its toll. It's like living for somebody else instead of yourself. When my hiatus is over, I have to get back to work. But all of you get to keep on living this awesome life. They'd never let me walk the streets or go to a tavern.
Looks like we have more in common than I thought. I mean, neither of us are fully in control of our lives. We're governed by circumstances outside of our control. With me, it's the system, and with you, it's the industry.
I'm honestly surprised they let him take a break. Time is money, and now they're losing plenty.
I'm sure they'll recover. Got a lot of song ideas floating around in my head, too. If anything, this hiatus is just a big rush of inspiration.
I could go for one of those.
Is the writing getting hard?
Always is.
Cheers to that one, man.
They hit their cups together and the small ring echoes.
So I guess it's Delta's turn now?
That's true, everyone else has already gone. But I'm not sure what my prompt should be.
I'll call a stalling rule if I have to.
Different game, genius.
Yeah, take your time, Delta.
Raise your hand if you think I've been a positive addition to the group. Raise your hand if you would go out on a date with me. Raise your hand if you're keeping a secret from the group. Raise your hand if you think Cypher will defeat Argus. I mean, the first choice is literally, like, stupid, because everybody will agree that I'm a positive addition to the group. The second one is like, maybe not everybody, but it's pretty obvious, at least with two of them, that they would go on a date with me. The last one is, what purpose should that solve? Nothing. The second last, on the other hand, is the most interesting one, because it is not concerning just me. It's like, raise your hand if you're keeping a secret from the group. That is far more interesting. Everyone immediately raises their hand, except for me. I gotta say, that's not what I was expecting. Then again, everybody has secrets from everybody, right?
Really, Delta? Nothing?
Too bad we can't make them elaborate on their own question.
Everyone has a secret, Delta.
Even you.
Especially me. It's only natural to have them. We can't share everything about ourselves.
True. I guess a secret isn't malicious by default. Anyway, raise it up, Delta. We know you're lying.
I decide to direct my follow-up question toward Isaac. He seemed to so open about everything. I had no clue what his secret could be. But a moment later, an uneasy silence takes over the table. Bad call, I guess?
Go ahead and drink, Isaac. We don't want to know your secrets.
I second that one, Dante. How about we all take a drink? You know, to valuing each other's privacy.
Everyone nods, and then we all take a sip of our drink. I guess I picked the wrong thing to ask. Oh well. Fine. At least they weren't mad, just a little firm.
Anyway, what happens next? If I'm not mistaken, that's a full round.
How about we finish our drinks and take a break, hmm? Wouldn't mind stretching my legs and checking out the tavern.
Sounds good to me.
Regroup in 10?
I might go touch up my eyeliner. How about we just regroup when we're ready?
Fine by me.
We all stand up and go our separate ways. I look over at Karen and he's drawn to the dartboard. Did they have that kind of stuff on the colony, I wonder?
Experience heart-to-heart fragment. Chiron 1.
Sure. Okay. I was like, something happening? What's with the saxophone music? I decide to approach Chiron while I have some time away from the group. Even though Isaac explained everything, the man himself was still a mystery. It'd probably be helpful to learn more about him and life on the colonies.
Hey, Delta, watch this. Yeah, I'm calling a bullseye.
Sure enough, a moment later, he hits the center of the board.
Score.
Nice. He gives me a big smirk and turns to face me. I decide to ask him about the colony life and if they had darts.
Now, of course. If it doesn't rely on technology, we probably have it. City folk who move to the colonies always bring new ideas, too. I've actually seen a lot of people abandon Argus. The colonies are nothing if not welcoming.
He walks over to the dart he just threw and pulls it out.
Wish I could say the same about the city. No matter where I go, I feel so many eyes on me, and I know they aren't just admiring my good looks.
Hey, very nice. How about you make a decision here? You know? Give me a V. Give me an I. Give me an R. Give me a V. Give me an Let's see if Wilnoise actually reacts. There we are. Good. Make a choice. Wow, 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 wow. By the way, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. Keep this in mind because that might be interesting to keep in mind. What am I even talking about? Keep this in mind because it might be important. We have 5 people, and New Year's we're gonna do the quantum leap, right? And the quantum leap allows us to celebrate New Year 4 times. So I think we can date up to 4 people at New Year. And basically we already told Clays no. Choose the same as you. It's my final choice. Locked, cannot be changed. Why are you so afraid of making a choice? Like, all you have to do is imagine you play the game and you have now to make a choice. Why do you push the choice to me? Why is it so scary to make a choice? And don't say it's because I play the game. If I ask someone else to make a choice, then I do it on purpose. For good reason. Ladies and gentlemen, my chat. As a streamer, it's always a good idea to include your chat into things you are streaming so it gives them a feeling of interactivity and, communication and having an influence in the stream. Well, thank you, Bob. Good timing, Bob. Audio save. Look, you can think about it. I will be away for like 2 minutes. Enjoy. Hello. Look, I would like choosing date option, but then when it comes to the lines on the screen, the first option I think is the one I like, but then I should decide on which one to pick. What? What lines mean what is said? Okay. Is it? I'm just curious. Is it just really a problem for you to make choices? Like, I'm not here to make any fun of you or anything. Like, seriously asking you, is that like a big problem when it comes to choices? Of course, you don't have to answer that. You can also talk with me about that somewhere else. So don't worry, you do not have to really answer that if you don't want to. I'm just curious. Then let's take this for the game's reason. If that's okay. Delay, my enemy. Are you okay if I choose this option here? The second one? I play by myself, I'm playing by myself, and I have the options to do saves and play multiple routes. If I wish to see an option or change my mind. Yeah. I'm fine. Let's go. Okay. When I look, it's definitely to admire your good looks.
Right back at you, Delta. I'm really happy you chose to give me that apple. Now we're partners in crime, ready to take down Argus and look good doing it. I doubt they'll go down without a fight, though. But right now, their inaction borders on negligence. People are starving to death right at their front door. And where I come from, you never turn down a neighbor in need. I feel like we could teach you city folk a lot about life, It's a bit harder when every day is a struggle.
Every day is a struggle? I ask him something that's been on my mind this entire time. The people who abandoned Argus, did they ever seem to regret it?
If they do, they never really show it. I think they know what they're signing themselves up for. They're usually super happy at first, but then it starts to fade. I don't think that means they regret it or they're depressed. It's more like a honeymoon period where they appreciate the freedom. The city may be beautiful, but those walls are definitely suffocating. Once they can truly breathe, it's almost like they have a new lease on life. But, just like all things, it quickly becomes normal and turns into routine. Day in and day out, life on the colonies never changes. It's a cycle that's definitely absent in the city. As much as Argus controls you, it's still so chaotic. I never really know what's waiting for me around each corner. It's definitely not Argus agents, though, and that makes me happy. At first, I figured it was only a matter of time before we got kicked out, but seeing the public opinion slowly sway it's actually pretty shocking. We always thought your views aligned with Argus. Gotta say, I half expected that apple you gave me to be poisonous. It was a big risk, letting you and your friends know that I'm a zero. But it's a risk that paid off. Let's hope they continue to do that, yeah? Our lives aren't exactly risk-free. Yet.
I like how he threw the word yet in there. He definitely believes in the same goal as we do. Harmony between societies, a true, genuine give and take.
Anyway, sorry for the rant. Now that I can talk, I guess I don't feel like stopping. On the streets, I was almost too scared to say a word.
Ask him what made him speak to us then.
Desperation, I suppose, or at the very least, hunger was a good motivator. But after all this time, I can't help but feel guilty.
Guilty? How so?
Well, I don't want to brag, but I'm pretty resilient. I reckon I could last a lot longer without food than some of the others, so in my mind, sometimes, I wish you ran across somebody else.
He looks a little sad, but it's completely understandable.
And if one of my people do starve to death on the streets, I know that in my heart, I'll just wish it was me instead. So let's make sure that doesn't happen, alright?
Obviously, I agree, since our goals are the same. We all wanted the conflict in the streets to end without death. It just remained to be seen who acted first, Argus or Cypher. It was like a standoff in the Old West. Both ready to shoot, but living in the moment where neither gun is smoking. We're just observers, wondering which one will be left standing.
I gotta say though, I feel like my life is complete these days. It's not like I never dreamed of living life in the city, you know? My vision just told me that it would be an impossible dream.
Right. In his vision, he's older and still living on the colony.
When I first had that vision, I was absolutely devastated. It's like my future was taken away from me. At least the one I wanted. Made me feel like giving up. Like any attempt at fighting it would be worthless. It took me such a long time to accept what I saw. Spent so many years trying to prove it wrong and see the city. I remember the first time I got to see what was behind those walls. I'd go into the forest and try to find the tallest tree. When I got to the top, I'd peek over the walls. God, it was always so bright and lively. I almost cried. It was actually kind of pathetic. Just a simple reminder of what I'd never be able to have. I'd look at the people with a mixture of jealousy and hatred. They were kind of small since I was so high up, but I saw their faces. And they all seemed happy. I knew that a lot of struggles we faced on the colonies didn't exist for you. Because you weren't aware of that fact, you'd always take it for granted. It sucks so much to see people live your dream and not even appreciate it.
I can imagine that would be difficult.
One of my favorite things to do was watch planes take off, just soaring the skies between cities. What an amazing sight. Told myself that one day, I'd get to experience all of that for myself. Despite my vision saying otherwise, I kept pushing forward. So I hope you can understand what I mean when I say I feel complete. Living in the city, being on a plane, it's just all I ever really wanted. We always suffer for the choices of those that came before us. I never really got to know my parents, but I think that's for the best. I was stuck there because of them. They'd be an easy target for my hatred. And having an easy target for your hatred just stifles your own growth. And maybe that's why Argus and city folk are still so old-fashioned, clinging to this belief that the system makes you superior.
I never felt like the system or city life made me feel superior.
And that's why I'm certain I've chosen the right group. I mean, this might sound weird, but there was something different about you. Not just you, but the rest of the gang too. I felt like I could approach you. It was the first time I ever got friendly vibes from someone in the city, so when I picked up on them, I had to take action almost immediately. Even if I get caught, at least you help me check a few things off my list. No matter how short or long this lasts, I still got to live in the city. And not only that, but I got to be inside a plane too. It's all thanks to you, Delta. Can't deny it. I guess I'm just glad that I didn't have an easy target for my hatred. It allowed me to grow and meet people who I can love and appreciate. A real, true group of friends. I don't think I'll ever forget you or the rest of them.
You know, we could try being more than friends.
Oh, really? Well, you might have to get in line. I'm not exactly an outcast on the colonies. Got a few people vying for my hand.
Vying for his hand. That's such an odd way to put it. But given his personality and appearance, I totally understand. Oh, there's also the voice. Definitely the voice. The voice wird nice. The voice you know.
Anyway, thanks for the chat, Delta. You want to head back to the group and keep this night going? It's still pretty early. Maybe we can all raise our hands again.
Why not, since it seems like a pretty good stopping point. Now that I know him more, things seem completely different. There's no longer a sliver of doubt that we are doing anything. English. There's no longer a sliver of doubt that we are doing anything wrong. Chiron was just like us, and he should be able to live the life he wants. Whether that was in the city or the colony, it should be his choice to make. I still have some questions for Chiron, but nothing immediately pressing. It was more like, how did he get in the city? Him and a friend must have ties to Cypher or Hermes. But from what he said, I doubt it's him. It must be someone else. We sit back down at our table and the group quickly assembles. But the man who felt like an outsider now feels like a true friend. I will be right back. 1 second, I need something to drink. got myself some Ovomaltine, also known as Ovaltine in the rest of the world for some stupid reason. We were in for a night that would be just as memorable as the nightclub.
Nothing like a nice little breather. I take it you're all good to keep going?
I could go all night long.
Yeah, bring it on.
Got a nice game of darts in, actually. Maybe we could go head to head sometime?
Oh, I'm really good at that.
You are?
Yep.
Never would have guessed.
What's that supposed to mean?
I don't know, you just have a certain aura.
Like an aura of bad aim?
Sure, you're right on track.
You should have seen me on Taylor's stream then. If you want to talk about bad aim, talk to him.
Wow. Get fried, Taylor. Ouch.
Hey, don't throw me under the bus like that. I was just going easy on you, since you're new.
Uh-huh.
There's no way you were going easy. I could see the panic in your eyes when I came for you.
Yeah, he just doesn't want to admit that you're better. He says the same thing no matter who he loses to.
Oh, come on, man.
Sorry, Taylor, but the truth is the truth. At least your viewers tune in for you, though. Your personality is the winner, not your skills.
Well, I can't exactly be mad after a compliment like that. You're right, though. We all have our own strengths.
And weaknesses.
True.
Definitely got my fair share of those.
Yes.
Says the self-proclaimed prodigy.
Just that pride at play, I guess. But I know I'm good at what I do.
And you have living proof of that now.
He points to himself in a display of pride.
Well, Isaac didn't do all of that by himself. He had a little help from you-know-who.
Yeah, he basically stole the joke and got all the credit. As much as you thank Isaac, you should thank Hermes too.
Well, then if I ever meet this Hermes, I'll give them my regards.
Let's just hope that it's not behind bars.
Couldn't be that bad. A prison cell or city walls, it doesn't even matter. You're all stuck in here, forced to live life the way they say.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah, but it also happens to be an awesome, luxurious life, so even a prison cell would ease a lot of my struggles. In fact, it might even be a welcome change.
Yeah. Fun fact. Like, some people live in shitty situations and they intentionally doing some crime, so they get thrown into jail because jail is a better place to live. Maybe not in America, but otherwise, I can see why.
They can't do that though, right? You gotta be in the system to have a criminal record. With no digital logs, you're almost like a ghost.
For me, they probably can. At least now.
He holds up his phone.
Right. But all your friends?
Not sure. Seems like new territory for Argus, too. That's probably why they haven't actually responded yet. New situations call for new rules and protocols, right?
Sounds about right.
It's really weird, isn't it? We're like right on the verge of history. Almost feels like the world is standing still.
The day the world stood still.
Yeah, especially for me. Remember, those are my people out there.
You must be feeling a little hopeful, though.
Kind of finding it hard to feel that way. Especially when the news keeps doing what it does. Fishing for sympathy views, showing all my people starving.
I can imagine it's tough, yeah. But there's one major takeaway here. And it's something important. For the whole world.
What are you on about?
It's something we've always wondered, but we never knew. But with everything going on now, I'm almost certain of it.
And what is that?
Argus isn't invincible. If they were, we wouldn't even be here right now. The cracks are starting to show, and we can all see it.
I guess you're right. Didn't expect to get this far, at least.
And even if we lose, it's not really the end. There's always someone who's willing to stand up. Whatever we can leave behind will be invaluable to them.
Just like Cypher left the blueprint for you to follow.
Exactly. We should come up with some sort of failsafe. You know, a set of files to leak if we end up getting caught. Something, anything to let people know what we did and how.
What happened to all that confidence?
Oh, it's still there. This is purely worst case scenario.
This is funny. There is. Where was that? I think there was a movie. It was either a movie or a series, but I think it was a movie where there's literally a person that is responsible for all the worst case scenarios. So literally, like, you can make a plan and it's all fine and they know of this plan, and then they draw all the worst case scenarios out of this plan and make backup plans to that. Which is a smart thing to do. There's nothing wrong with that. I find it odd that we are talking about this stuff out in the open, but it's not like this place was packed or people were listening in. It's also clear that the bartender was out of earshot, so it's not a big deal. Although it's smart to plan for the worst, it was still a little unsettling. If we could leave behind something useful though, then it was a good idea. Sometimes ideals pass down from generation to generation before becoming the norm. Behind this mask is an idea, and ideas are bulletproof. As much as I'd like to come out of this unscathed, there's always a chance that we may have to pass the torch. With everything Isaac has said though, I think he's uniquely qualified to the task. And that is what garnered most of the trust I have for him. A man who can make the impossible happen is the greatest threat of all. Especially against those who in their arrogance see themselves at the top.
This is all certainly cheerful and uplifting, but remember, we were talking about darts. Yeah, starting to think you're just too scared to challenge me.
Oh, I certainly am. I wasn't trying to hide it, though.
Yeah, I think Clace is the one that challenged you. And from what I experienced, he does know how to aim.
Right. Sorry for getting sidetracked. You still down to face him, Clace?
Oh, I don't think so.
Huh? Everything good?
He looks around, clearly nervous. Pen in hand, he was scribbling in his diary.
Well, remember when I asked if I should sing karaoke?
Yeah, but none of us think we're in any danger.
I'm starting to think that we might be.
Huh?
What's wrong?
Well, when I asked, I noticed a few people staring our way. It's been a while, but they haven't stopped. It's creeping me out. Especially now that we're talking about matters at hand.
Aren't you famous or something? I mean, even I catch myself staring from time to time.
Well, this is a bit different. One or two people usually turns into a crowd. Especially as they tell their friends and post on social media. But that hasn't happened here. They just keep staring. I think that's enough for me to point it out. Have you noticed?
Can't say I have.
Don't have eyes on the back of my head either. This is on you and Chiron, man.
True, only Clace and Karen could see over there. Even in my seat, I don't have the right angle to take a look.
Yeah, I noticed, but I'm used to people checking me out. That fact aside, there are people looking our way.
What do we do?
We can still hang out at home.
Doesn't matter to me. Especially with all that alcohol we took from the club. If we can stay safe and save money, that's a win-win.
So I have to sing then?
I mean, it was your idea.
I think it'll help us out no matter what. If they are fans, then they'll appreciate the show. And if they're Argus, then it'll distract them while we slip out.
Wait a minute. If it is Argus, then what happens to me?
Hey, it was your plan. Didn't you think it through?
Thinking things through isn't really my strong suit. But don't worry, I'll sing and then meet you back at home. I guess my main priority was your safety instead of my own.
You sure about this then?
Absolutely. It was the plan after all. I can't just back out because there's some uncertainty.
Smart.
I learned that one from you, Isaac. If you gave up, we wouldn't even be here right now. When things get difficult, you just try even harder.
Yeah, been doing that a lot lately. But thanks for the distraction, Clace. I'll find us a route home that's drone-free.
Isn't that a bit extreme?
Not if Argus is watching us, no. The first thing they do when we left is check the streets. Those drones can scan our faces, remember? We'd stand no chance.
By flying into our face. Like, hi there, Epizone. How are you doing?
That's fair. So, the party continues at home.
Sure looks like it. Hate to cut things short, but I think we need to.
Hey, Clace, can you promise me something?
What's up?
Please sing us a song at the Quantum Leap. I'd love to stay and watch you now, but yeah.
Sure thing, Dante. I'd love to. You're expecting a big crowd, right?
Yeah, and it's private property. If anyone seems suspicious, we'll kick them out.
Sounds good to me.
He stops to think for a moment and then scoffs.
On hiatus, and I still end up performing. Somehow I knew this would end up happening. You're all free to go, though. Your savior is here.
I guess he really is acting as our savior. He's the only one who can cause a natural distraction after all. But I do worry about what might happen if those people were agents of Argus. They would never do something to an idol performing in public, would they? It definitely seems like this is the best possible distraction for us to use. A night of safety in our own home definitely beats a night spent under prying eyes. Kind of ironic when Argus already watches us almost all the time. But there's something about those specific 4 walls that makes it seem safer. So if we should be anywhere right now, it should be within those walls. Clace approaches the karaoke stage and chats with the operator. A few moments later, as he steps on stage, we start to make our way out. Looks like, for some reason, we'd be leaving through the back door. I assume it has to do with Chiron or the position of those Argus drones.
Hey, well, I wrote this one a couple years ago. It seemed to do pretty well, so I hope you enjoy.
Advance this text box to start the song, and advance the next one to end it.
Oh boy, this could be my DMCA strike. This is gonna be fun. Please, let's check it out.
Afraid, I've lived my life being afraid to break these
It's a complete different voice.
Chaining me to what's been safe. Shame, I cannot take the shame. Sick of all these games. So what do you say? The bullets don't make it fun when you're reloading the words like guns. Yeah, my veins, they pound like drums. My ears, they ring and hum. I've got a bulletproof heart. I've got a
Then again, if I remember correctly, Clace is, I think, also a singer.
bulletproof heart. I'm gonna make it start. Open up for you. I don't wanna be bulletproof anymore.
Banger. Hi there, Coffee Siphon. How are you doing? Bang. 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 How are you doing today? bar. Bar? As soon as we exit the tavern, we start following Isaac. I'm doing B. He has his head buried in his phone, trying to find us a safe route home. Oh no, it's the invasion of the Boingy Boing. The drone coverage must be extensive. It's surely a feat to dodge them.
Hold on. We should be safe in this alley for a few minutes. I'll calculate the rest of the route and send Clace a screenshot. At least then he'll know how to get home without being seen.
We all agree though, right? That wasn't Argus, just some fans.
Can't say for sure. Even then, we need to err on the side of caution. I can take a deeper look at my follow-up interview.
You're still planning to go to that?
Of course. I have no reason not to.
Well, we're currently running in fright from Argus. The last thing I'd want to do is walk into their HQ.
I guess that's what separates us then. No need to panic unless I'm given one. I just want Clace to feel safe while he's here.
You know, this is the only downside I've noticed about city life. You're all terrified of Argus, while the Zeros take a stand.
English. So what they're doing? Well, they basically went as planned to a bar and had a night at the bar. But they also planned for the fact that maybe if Chiron, that's the character on the right, who's Zero, which is someone who is actually not living in the city, who has now a phone given to him that makes him a part of the city, but, well, it's fake. But he shouldn't be discovered, but it's still a risk. So therefore we planned for the fact that maybe when he is discovered, he just runs. Or if something else is going on, that we can actually leave the bar/tavern. And, well, Clace already planned into that and said, like, gonna sing a song to distract people if that's gonna happen. And basically, that's what just happened. Somehow ended up acting like rebels fighting a corrupt corporation. Well, we don't know if the corporation is actually corrupt. It's just that the corporation literally controls the lives of everybody in the cities.
Hey, us city folk are taking a stand too.
Yeah, behind the mask of Cypher. Whoever this Hermes is, they're kind of a coward.
Hey, that's not nice. If it weren't for Hermes, you wouldn't have that phone. It was their blueprint that I used to beat the system. Whatever Hermes is planning, I'm sure it'll work. You're living proof that Argus isn't invincible. Knowing that can make all the difference.
Johnny Silverhand is smiling. If I wanna fuck you, I'll throw your body.
Yeah, and their inaction only makes them look scared. But it's still smart to be cautious, especially right now.
And remember, this conflict is going to end in a week or two. Argus only has a few possible moves, and most play into Cypher's hands. The only one that doesn't is forceful removal. But I doubt they'll resort to that.
What makes you so certain?
If Argus wanted to rule with an iron fist, they'd already be doing it. Giving us a score and letting us control it. There's some trust there. It might not be ideal, but it could be a million times worse than it is.
That's a pretty big assumption to make, Taylor. Like they treat their enemies the same way they treat their subjects?
They might not have a choice.
You think so?
Well, Argus has so many eyes on them right now. I'm guessing they don't like the taste of their own medicine. They'll probably take the option that society wants the most.
And public opinion is with the Zeros.
Exactly.
You know, he's not wrong. In fact, he'd know more about that than anyone. When you're on a platform, you need to please others, even more than yourself.
When you are on a platform, you need to please others, even more than yourself. Hi, Twitch. I'm on your platform.
As easy as it would be to kick your friends out, it's not the play. Their next move, or lack of one, will affect how we see them. For once, they have to factor in other people's feelings.
Yeah, I count on my viewers to hold me accountable. If I ever slip up, I want to hear about it so I can correct it, and ideally stop myself from slipping up in the future.
Awfully responsible, Taylor. Never would have expected that from you.
Get burned. We're all a bit startled, not even noticing that Clay's returned.
Whoa, where'd you come from?
Oh, I started to follow your route and heard you talking. Things went fine, by the way. No one followed me.
So they were just fans then?
I'm not sure. I got out of there before I got the chance to tell. The owner actually recognized me and helped me sneak out. Of course, not before giving me a few shots in the house.
Ah, damn. I was kind of hoping we'd find out for sure. Sometimes not knowing things is just way worse.
Like I said, I can take a deeper look at my follow-up interview. But remember, I already looked earlier today. We're clean. I doubt anything changed in a matter of hours, Taylor.
Fair.
So, are we ready to continue?
I think so. Clace, you good?
Those shots went straight to my head, but yeah, I couldn't turn down free drinks. Not from the owner.
I'm gonna say something controversial here, but I think we should let Chiron come back home with us.
Really?
Yeah. If Argus is after us, that means they're after him too. We can't just let him go off on his own. It feels wrong. Even if the chance is minimal, we shouldn't take it.
I don't know about that, Isaac.
If he's caught, then we're the next people they'd come for. We need to stick together like we always planned. Remember? If we go down together.
If you say so. But that pride is going to be the death of you.
Trust me, I'm counting down the days. But, looks like you got lucky, Chiron. You finally get to come over.
Under the most auspicious circumstances, too. We just better hope that Argus doesn't come knocking. I'm not quite close enough to take a bullet for any of you.
Don't worry, I'm pretty quick on my feet. We might have to worry about Taylor, though.
Hey, I'm nimble.
Clace looks really nervous and is tucking on his scarf.
Any chance we could talk about dying a little less?
Seconded.
Thirded.
Fine. The rest of the route is pretty simple, actually. Just follow me and we'll be home in no time.
We start to follow Isaac and my mind is racing. Everything makes sense, but it's also scary and risky. Talk less about dying? Yes. Bringing Chiron home so early on, that wasn't part of the plan. But he was right. We couldn't just give him that phone, then ditch him. Especially because things were going differently than we anticipated. He was one of us now, and we had to take care of him and treat him as such. Even if that meant making a dangerous move. A dangerous move! Our fear could be a self-fulfilling prophecy that tips Argus off. About our inevitable death and how we are not more than just the sands of time, maybe. The sands of time! I heard they can be used to turn back time and summon uncontrollable djinn to follow you everywhere around. But I'd never forgive myself if we left Chiron and something bad happened to him. I'ma use it to sleep more. Hello there, recruit. How are you doing? I see. You are a watcher of Andre. This is our responsibility now. That's what I repeat to myself as we make our way home in an abundance of caution. would be a damn shame if Chiron doesn't own a boat. Good. That's all. That's good to hear. Welcome to the stream. The only thing that saves us is the resolution of the protests that rage on. It's like a coin was. It's like a English. It's like a coin was in the air and slowly falling down. We just have to hope that it lands on the right side. Not just for us, but for the sake of everybody. As soon as we arrive home, we head to the kitchen. Just as I expected, there's no beep or announcement when Isaac unlocks the door. I assume that he's put in mods to back. I assume that he's put his mods back in place after Dante last removed them. It's weird how far removed we are from that initial conflict. Back then, those mods seemed to be a major cause of quarrels in the house. But things have certainly changed over the last week or so, for everybody. When I stop to think about it, though, it's still the same central conflict. It all boils down how much we are okay with August being in control. It's still an issue that boils down to society clashing with the system. At least now, with the people on the streets, things are changing. Like winds of change? For the first time, public opinion is moving in favor of the Zeros. It's like seeing these people and their plight changed minds. I've said it before, but it's a lot easier to fight and discriminate against a concept. That's what the Zeros were to most of us until a couple of weeks ago. A concept. Something intangible, a convenient target for judgment and hatred. Thankfully, me and the group were level-headed and incapable of that hate. Especially not toward a group of people who just think differently than us. I wish the people in power were as impartial as we are. Though I guess calling us impartial is kind of stretching the truth. Our allegiance is clearly with the Zeros and against our world of powers. I guess it was better to say that we sided with justice and equality for all. No. We need equity, not equality. Man. One moment. Okay.
Well, I think we can strike all worry from the record.
What makes you say that?
I don't know. I just feel like bringing Chiron home was the ultimate test. Talking outside or in a cafe just doesn't seem as wrong. But now we're definitely abetting him. So there's that. If they were watching us, they'd be waiting for a slip-up, something they could pounce on and use to take us down. But we seem to be fine. There's definitely been no pouncing tonight.
Looking to change that?
I'm So not surprised about this comment from Taylor. I was like literally waiting for it. It was like, oh god, this is gonna be Taylor who's going to put something in there.
Silence.
Silence! Peasant! Silence! Silence.
Leave it to Taylor to make anything thirsty. But, speaking of thirst, you all down for another beer?
That's the one in the can, right?
Usually. I guess it depends on your preference. We could pour it out on the sidewalk if you'd rather use your fingers.
Dante, come on.
Oh, bad joke?
Actually, it was pretty good. Something tells me I'll never live that one down.
Yeah, you probably won't. Hold on. I'll go grab the drinks.
I'm fine with that one if that's okay. I think I had a few too many at the Wayfarer.
Generous proprietor, huh?
That's one way to put it. He said he'd hook me up if I ever came back too, but I don't think I'll get the chance. Work wouldn't allow it.
Dante returns with the beers and places them in front of us. Except for Clays, who already seems intoxicated enough.
Is work really that restricting?
I'm probably downplaying it, to be honest. They basically have to approve my every action. This hiatus is killing them, I can almost feel it. But I promised them more albums and tours in exchange, so that's what sold them. They'd never let me do this for the fun of it. Everything I do usually comes down to, is this making the label money?
Oh, great.
Or costing them money in this case.
Yeah, I had to cancel a lot of interviews to make this happen. That's why we had the nightclub to ourselves as well. It was going to be used for an autograph session.
Oh yeah, I remember you saying that. How much money did that cost the label?
No idea, but I'd guess a lot. It's not even a good way to meet fans either. Most people just want the signed photo so they can sell it.
How is that even making money? It's like it's just signing autographs. Like, the people are not going to pay like a ticket to be there. They just go there and then getting an autograph and then they leave. And they were already fans to begin with. So how is that even making them any money?
Yikes.
People pay money for your signature? You have it so much easier than the rest of us.
People pay money for your signature? They really paid for that? Why?
How can you tell what their intentions are, though? I feel like I should ask for the benefit of my own signings.
Oh, I just have to ask them who I'm signing the photo for. If they don't want it personalized, they're likely looking to sell it. At least, that's what they taught me when I was in PR training.
PR training? Like talking to the media? Way too intense. I could never handle that.
How do you cope?
There's a few moments that make it all worthwhile. And for everything else, there's vodka.
Oh, great. Stressed at your job? Vodka. Anxious? Vodka. Working too much? Vodka. Everyone laughs at the joke and the rest of us raise our beer in the air.
Ready to give it a shot, Chiron?
If I had to answer based on the smell, I'd say no, but I'm not about to back down from a challenge.
And there's the toast for the night. Here's to not backing down from a challenge.
Yeah, we stick it out to the very end.
We touch our beer cans together and we each take a swig. I didn't drink that much tonight and I'm still perfectly sober. Had to take it easy since the quantum leap was coming up. Yeah, that's like 1, 2, 3, 4 days away.
Okay, this one is actually disgusting.
I absolutely agree with him. Beer is not good.
Seriously?
I kinda like it.
Might as well go outside and bite a pine tree.
It is not that bad.
It's an acquired taste, I'll give you that much.
It is, yes.
Well, here I go acquiring.
He takes another large swig and coughs soon after. Isaac leans forward like he's absolutely to say something important.
You want to see something cool? I've been getting the backyard ready for the party.
I still think we should have hosted it at my place. More room, and I got that pool in the back.
Also, it was your idea.
Yeah, that's a big one.
But you want everyone to know where you live? I figured I was doing you a favor by hosting it here.
Fair.
Besides, I think you'll like what you see. Sharing a beer while the sun sets is a lot better than staying inside, too.
Can't argue with that. Go on then, Isaac. Show us the way.
I agree. Sunset, sunrise, doesn't matter. It's both amazing. La 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 la. Oh, nice. A bit too nice. What the heck? Has even a huge TV screen in the garden. What the hell? What is he doing when it's raining? Does he have like some drapes that he puts down so the couch is not getting wet? TV is not getting wrecked? I mean, it's nice, but it's kind of like, what? We make our way to the backyard, and I'm stunned by its beauty. It may not have a pool or be as fancy as Taylor's house, but it had character. And in my opinion, character would win over fancy tech any day. And what is this? Not fancy tech? This is actually my first time in the backyard, and it's clear that Isaac cared for it. And if it was where we'd be ringing in the new year, then I'm definitely excited. I'm a bit uncertain if having a huge crowd over is a good idea, but I trust Isaac. There's even a lower level here. Like, we're not gonna see this part, but perhaps it would even work out to our benefit and let us blend in. If Argus ever did come after us, a crowded party would be the worst place to attack. Something told me that if they wanted to deal with us, they would do so in private.
So, you like it? I've been working on it all week. Had a few coworkers help me out too.
It looks awesome. Definitely gives me some colony vibes. Everything else in the city is way too bright and high-tech.
You should see Tyler's house sometime.
Guessing it's the opposite of this? If that's the case, I think I'll pass. The jet is already fancy enough.
And to think, I was about to ask you over for a date.
How about we do it at my place instead? We can set the windows to a more romantic view. Maybe the sunset, or even a city skyline.
How about the stars? I've always found them pretty romantic. Especially in the dead of night, too.
I'll have to pass on that one. Stars mean something different on the colonies. Definitely not conducive to romance.
We all take a seat in the gazebo type thing and start sipping our beers. In the gazebo?
Wait, what? Stars are different for you?
They probably are a representation of the visions, I would say.
The meaning of them, yeah. It's just a silly superstition anyway.
I know about that, actually. Seen a lot of people talk about it online.
Anyone care to elaborate?
That's nothing special, but sure. In the city, when someone dies, you say they return to the earth. But on the colonies, it's the opposite. We say they return to the stars.
Okay, that sounds so much cooler. Can't believe I've never heard it before.
How can you not? How? Like, if this whole reality is based on our reality, just with, of course, different characters, then it's strange he never heard of that, because in old civilizations, it is not strange to think about that people return to the stars. That was for a long time a thing, and in some cultures it might still be a thing today.
I'm surprised Isaac has, honestly. There isn't much mingling between our two worlds.
I'm just a jack of all trades, I guess. Pick up a lot of random facts in retail. Like I always say, people love to talk.
Do you ever do it then? You know, gaze up and remember?
Oh yeah, all the time. At the very least, it's still a pretty sight.
So you're saying all our friends and family are out there somewhere?
Yes, when they die, they become a very, 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 very distant planet. It's no problem. Sometimes you might even see stars fall.
Yeah, we're cosmic beings, and this body is just a simple stop. Once it expires, we keep on sailing that vast sea of stars. So even if we feel alone, we never truly are. Get it?
That's a nice romantic way of looking at it.
It's definitely gotten. Makes our views seem super depressing, though.
Yeah, return to the Earth, it's kind of stupid. Yeah, trampling all over everyone that came before you. Nah, I'd rather look up and know they're out there somewhere.
Fact-wise, we are still trampling on the people who came before us. That is pretty normal.
Do you think they're watching us? You know, to see what we've become?
Maybe, but I wouldn't be offended if they aren't. I imagine that limitless opportunities open up when we die. Looking back at Earth is probably the last thing on their mind.
I guess it depends on the person.
Probably. Anyway, Taylor, remember how you said the dead of night? At least you know how it got that name. A simple superstition.
Well, I'm sorry for suggesting something like that. In the city, we just look at the stars and see infinite potential. The chance to make a wish, especially with someone we love.
Kinda sounds like the two go hand in hand. Making a wish under the watchful eyes of our lost loved ones? And if we're in love, then sharing that wish with a partner? Makes total sense why we'd see it as romantic.
Speak for yourself, Dante. I don't want my dead ancestors watching me make out. It's enough having the eyes of Argus on me all the time.
I'll give him that. Oh yeah. I'm sorry, Bob. I almost ignored you. Thank you for that. Don't be scared. This is just an audio save. Because of the way my audio works, I have to make sure that it stays that way. Right. I agree with Taylor. It's kinda creepy when you think about the idea of like, all the dead people still roam the earth as ghosts and so on. And so I'm like, I don't want ghosts to be creepers in my life. Thank you.
I don't think they're literally watching. I think it's more like a spiritual connection that's still in place. When all of us are gone, we'll still be connected by the stars.
Almost like a constellation of our own. It's pretty cool, actually. Kinda looking forward to it.
Looking forward to dying?
You know, this entire talk about stars is interesting because you might not know this one. There's an anime series out there, probably also based on a manga before that, which is called Darker Than Black. And in that series, the sky, the night sky, is not real. It looks real, but it's not real. And the interesting part is there are people with special powers, and when they die, they have a star in the sky. And if they die, this star falls. So therefore people know when a star is falling, then one of those people died. Not gonna tell you more about that, but it's certainly an interesting series.
More like looking forward to absolute freedom. Plus, an author dying has never really hurt their career. I'll be touching more minds and hearts than I ever could while I'm alive.
Tell that artists. Sadly. Isn't it weird? Like, when writers and artists who draw and paint, like when they die, everything, well, not for everybody, but many of them, like when they die, their work becomes far more sought after and more valuable. And it's really ironic when you think about it. Like, let's take as an example Van Gogh, who's a painter and paints strange paintings with a weird style. And the strangest part is, like, he is also fighting depression and yeah, and then he dies, and then his entire work becomes more valuable and stuff, and everybody's like, oh yeah, Van Gogh, this is such a good artist, I love him. And it's like, great, guess what would have helped him when he was alive? Yes, success and money, all the money he's making now where he's already dead. It's kind of dumb when you think about it.
As morbid as it is, you have a point. I imagine I'll blow up a bit after dying too.
What about you, Clace? Ever thought about that stuff?
Not really.
Really? Never thought about the legacy you'd leave behind?
I guess I'm just too busy to think about that kind of stuff. But trust me, this hiatus has my mind going to a lot of new places.
And you like what you've been experiencing?
Yeah, for sure.
By now, we are all done sipping our beers. Chiron has stopped objecting to the taste. He must have acquired it. Or maybe he's just intoxicated enough that the taste doesn't matter.
Is it okay if I go and get some sleep? We'll be back out here partying in a few days anyway, right?
Oh, of course. Don't feel pressured to stay awake. I can tell it's been a busy night for you.
Yeah, it's been a while since I sang like that. Reminds me of how tiring being on tour is.
At least they didn't eat specific sweets.
Picked a pretty good song too. I heard some of it on the way out.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Still can't believe you sang your own song. Isn't that a little self-serving?
It's definitely not like that, Isaac, I promise. Besides, I serviced myself enough last night anyways.
What?
What?
What? He stands up and wobbles like the booze hit him all at once. I have questions. Would you like to answer them? I jump up and wrap my arm around him. He seems pretty embarrassed.
Delta, just the person I wanted to see. Mind taking me back to my room for a little chat?
I nod.
Whoa, I'm kind of jealous.
You are.
Guess you'll be raising your hand next time too then, Delta.
Oh, it's not like that, I promise. We've just both made big moves, you know? It helps to talk with someone in a similar situation.
I was only joking anyway. Sorry if you're having a hard time.
It's okay, Taylor. I know you well enough by now. Anyway, guess we'll see you all tomorrow?
Everyone looks at each other and then Dante grins.
Raise your hand if you want to go pass out.
Already? Really? The night was just getting started.
I think it's a good time to cut things short, actually. That walk home really took it out of me.
Yeah, and the anxiety certainly didn't help. But this was supposed to be a low-energy night anyway. Gotta conserve some of our power for New Year's Eve.
Boring.
Boo!
It's 4 days away, man. We can go back inside to hang out, but I'm all done partying. Wouldn't want to have too much fun without Clace and Delta anyway.
Fair.
Everyone raises their paw as if agreeing with Dante's earlier prompt. Empty beer cans are thrown in the recycling bin before we re-enter the house. Keep that in mind. Recycling bin, not on the street or somewhere. As we all split up, however, I stick with Clays and take him to his room. My curiosity has piqued. I wonder what he wants to talk about. As we make our way to his room, the chatter and laughs fade into silence. It's replaced by vibrations in my pocket. They must be using the group chat. But right now, I had more important things to take care of. Are you happy to see me, or is this a mobile phone in your pocket? Oh, it's my phone. As soon as we enter the room, Clays makes sure to shut the door behind us. A few moments later, he turns around to face me. He looks completely sober.
Sorry, I wasn't even really that drunk. I just needed to get away from everything, you know?
I'm not sure I know, so I just shrug.
Don't you find it all a little suffocating, Delta? I mean, this fresh start could just put you behind bars. And my little hiatus, instead of inspiring me, could end my career.
I trust we'll come up. English. I trust we'll come out on top. There's no need to worry.
I wish you could spare a bit of your confidence. Tonight was just one panic attack after another. Argus could be waiting around every street corner.
He takes out his phone and unlocks it.
Did you know that Cypher isn't the first group to oppose Argus? I've actually been looking into the history of all this. You know, the fight to make zeros more equal.
Cypher isn't the first organization to try? Well, they have definitely gotten farther than any other group, that's for sure.
It seems that way, but there's just no way to confirm it. Any information about the groups before Cypher is impossible to find. I can only see that the heads of those groups were apprehended and never seen again.
What?
There's not a single mention of them after they were taken in. But that's not normal. It's like a scrub job, and a thorough one at that. I recognize the pattern because I've seen it happen in the idol business. I think we're climbing the wrong tree, Delta, and every moment that passes, we get too high to jump back down. It's more than I bargained for, and I just don't know what to do.
A tree, you say? I know someone who owes me a dance on a tree. You should trust Isaac. He'd never put us in danger like that.
Are you sure about that, though? Or I mean, maybe he doesn't know about the danger. We may be smaller scale than Cypher, but we're rebelling all the same. If this doesn't end in favor of the Zeros, we'll be in trouble. I think Isaac is operating under the hope that Cypher will win, but after looking into the history of these organizations, I'm skeptical. It's very likely that Argus already knows who the leader of Cypher is. And I bet they'll disappear without a trace, too. But Argus won't back down. Any investigation, however small, has a chance of being traced back to us.
You shouldn't feel bad. We're fighting for what's right.
But it's against all odds, and that's what worries me. Being a martyr is admirable and all, but not if the people forget you. They could take us out and then scrub our identities from existence. In the backyard, they were talking about legacies to leave behind. But we're up against Argus. They can snap a finger and we're just gone. No legacy, no martyrdom. We just messed with the wrong group and paid for it.
There's no sign that we're in any danger. Not at all.
Well, the anxiety of not knowing is really killing me. I'm just not sure if I'm supposed to be part of this group. If we're all caught, then my career would be over and I'd disappear.
I really don't think Argus is coming after us, Clays.
You don't know how many times I've wanted the turn in Isaac. How many times I've written the text and had my finger over send. It's not easy, living like every day could be your last. It's terrifying.
Clays.
But there's a reason I haven't done it yet. There's a reason I've stuck by your side and everyone else's. I think my instinct to turn and run is just one the label forced on me. Like I said, if we were caught, then my career would probably be over. It says a lot that I care more about my career than I do about myself. They taught me to put that first, since it's the real moneymaker. I'm always scared to do things because of how they'd affect my image. Even if they're things I want, and things I know would make me happy. That's why I haven't turned in Isaac. It's what the label would want. But it's not what I want. And I struggle with that every single day. Especially since this hiatus has let me taste independence. Whether we're caught or I go back to work, I'll lose it either way.
Your career wouldn't end if we work hard.
I find that hard to believe. There's not much love in the world for those who defy our leaders. Especially for those who build a platform and use it for subterfuge.
Remember, public opinion is with the Zeros, not Argus.
I guess you're right.
If Cypher wins, you could be seen as a hero or a pioneer.
A hero?
Yeah, Argus loses, then we won't be the bad guys. But sometimes it's good to be the bad guys, you know?
I guess I just find it hard to believe that we'll come out on top. But you're right, if the tables turn, we'll be on the other side. I'm only just scared because they haven't moved yet.
They will soon. Remember what Hermes demanded.
Yeah, a revolution by giving out phones to all the Zeros. They're giving Argus the chance to do it first, but I don't think they will. I'd hate it so much if Zeros dying of starvation was the catalyst for change. Because then, how do you decide how many lives are enough? At what point would Cypher realize it's time to take action? That both sides see any lives as expendable is just awful.
Time to play bad by Jack Daniels. Or you could watch the bad guys.
But it's the world we live in.
With a contrasting smirk, he gives me a playful nudge.
If this all goes our way, I definitely wouldn't mind being called a hero. And it's good that we're close. Every hero needs a good sidekick, right?
I can tell I've given him enough affirmation. His doubt moves aside, and I met with optimism. The song is pretty nice if you're in a bad guy mood. I don't know. Maybe I know the song? I don't know. I usually remember songs by its song. It's a trait that was definitely lacking before we started talking.
So, can I trust in you then? If I'm ever in trouble, you'll come to my rescue?
I figured it would be the hero that rescues the sidekick, actually.
I guess it could go both ways. Then we're more like a team.
Looks happy, but also contemplative. Look it up. I don't know when the song came out. Looks like years. I have to look it up, yeah. I have no idea. And I will forget. So I will take a note. Otherwise, I will not remember that by Jack Daniels. I never knew that alcohol can sing. You know?
Every good team needs a name, though.
We should call ourselves... Flash guy. Human bats. He's clearly having a hard time thinking of a name, so I decide to step up. Given our interactions thus far, I have a pretty good idea for our team name. Remember? Lost and Clueless? I hold out my paw.
Lost and clueless, huh?
He smiles and gives my paw a firm shake.
Seems to describe a lot of us these days. But I'm starting to see the light on the other side. Maybe Isaac is right. Maybe we will be fine. And even if we aren't, at least I've got my sidekick. Gotta say, always liked the idea of my own knight in shining armor. Thanks for the chat, Delta. I knew you'd be the right choice.
Fish out of water, right?
But getting used to it more and more. If I ever need someone to talk to again, I'll let you know. That diary isn't exactly the best at giving me advice in return.
Yeah, it's a bad talking partner, isn't it? I nod and smile, sensing that the conversation has reached its natural end. With a quick good night, he jumps into bed. I take it as my cue to leave. But on the way out of his room, something catches my attention. His diary is resting on a desk that's placed against one of the walls. Around it are worrying amounts of empty booze and pill bottles. Yeah, that's never good. I immediately avert my gaze, as I feel it's none of my business. Now it is my business. But then I immediately look back, a little shocked and worried. It was clear that this was taking a toll on him, and I hated to see that. But I can't start doubting him. I have to believe in him and his words. We're a team now, after all. He'd never turn us in just to save himself. At least that's what I chose to tell myself as I leave him on his own. In an effort to cleanse my mind, I check my phone as soon as I leave the room. Looks like it's business as usual. I don't think anyone knows how Clace truly feels. Right now, the main concern is Dante left his wallet at the Wayfarer. He certainly seems forgetful, doesn't he? Now that I know more about him, though, I offered to pick it up in the morning. It was a keepsake, and it clearly had meaning to him, despite seeming otherwise. He thanks me, and I return to my room. Like last time, I plug in my phone and stare up at the ceiling. But fatigue doesn't take me. It's replaced by a new wave of worry. I worry about what might happen to my friends. But I realize we are all on the same team. We are in this together. I cling to that feeling of togetherness and hold it deep into a sleepless night. A lost memento. A newfound fear. It's this section between chapters, it never ends. Fun times. Time for therapy. I sit in the chair, bouncing my leg up and down in a state of anxiety. A restless night. I definitely hate to add more of those to the pile. But a lot of stuff is happening, stuff I can't even talk about.
Well then, you definitely seem nervous. Is everything all right, Delta? What's bothering you?
Just didn't get any sleep last night, that's all.
I see. Bad dreams, perhaps? Those can easily get the better of us.
I'm not choosing not to go along with the narrative he creates.
Just remember that they aren't real. Easier said than done, but it's a good starting point.
Things I do not deal with. The advantage of being a lucid dreamer. He scribbles down notes in my file. Yay! I wonder what he's saying about me in there. You could ask him showing you, because you have all the right to do so. I'm sure he's trained to discern when his patients are lying.
You know, specters of the imagination can easily be our greatest foes. Not quite real enough for others to take notice, yet real enough to be all-consuming. Try not to let this get to your head, Delta. You've made remarkable progress since we first met.
He continues to scribble notes. I appreciate the validation.
A lot of people have a hard time adjusting to a new life. It's not exactly easy to leave everything behind, so I commend your resolve.
I suppose he sees this as an off day for me. Maybe it is.
This reminds me of an interesting thought exercise.
Oh, here we go.
Have you ever noticed how we remember dreams backwards? That final moment upon waking is the one that sticks with us the most. Then we piece it together bit by bit, retracing our steps the other way.
Let me think about that. Actually, I don't do that. I find it interesting. I think probably most people do it exactly like that. They trace it backwards. I don't do that. I start in the beginning and go through it normally, multiple times, so I can remember the dream. Yeah. But I get it. Like, the last thing you dream is mostly the one thing you remember the best about dreams. But I don't do that, no. No.
Fragments of lingering memories scattered about, complete yet not quite whole. That is how people describe the feeling of Komorebi. Their visions may be one moment, but they still carry memories. How old you are in your vision is almost as important as the vision itself.
Interesting.
Imagine if your consciousness was thrust forward 30 years. You'd be a completely different person. The way you think and act. Kind of like how your bad dream affects the way you feel right now. But then, imagine that on repeat, almost every single day. You may never experience Komorebi, but this could help you understand it. And understanding it might help you relate with your friends a little bit more.
He gives me a wide smile, like he's super satisfied with his words. The thought of being lost in time scares me and makes me worry for my friends. Being forced into the future, being forced to carry years of false memories, it would really mess with your sense of past, present, and future.
I suppose this is where I tell you that you might be cleared as a patient soon. So if there's any final advice I can give you, I feel obligated to do so.
Really? I'm actually kind of surprised.
The mental health of my patients is my greatest concern. Unfortunately, there are others who could benefit more from my time.
I can understand that, but suddenly I'm filled with sadness. This was an invaluable resource that I should be able to make use of. It's awful how I can't tell him what I'm really feeling, what I've really been doing. It hurts that I might need to help. It hurts that I might need the help he no longer feels willing to offer. But the parting gift of useful advice during our final sessions is appreciated. It's what I saw him as in the first place, after all, a mentor figure.
The offboarding process is quite simple. I just need 2 more sessions to determine if my decision is final. A lack of issues to talk about is a pretty good sign in your favor, though.
An apparent lack, more like. I noticed that I've stopped bouncing my leg up and down. It's like my body is at ease knowing I might be cleared soon. If that happened, he'd never be able to figure out what I've been up to. However, my mind is far from the opposite. It's interesting how our body can clash in such a way. Feeling ease but unease at the same time. Is there a word for that?
Moving along, did you see the latest August keynote? A little odd that they didn't talk about the protests. Although this nostalgia technology seems quite interesting. Even if it might be decades away, it's still a nice concept. From a purely therapeutic perspective, of course.
Now they start to talk about nostalgia. We have a nostalgia filter in the game. I have never really used it. So I guess this is the point where the game is going to talk about this. That sounds vaguely familiar, yet I can't remember why. Didn't Argus mention nostalgia during their anniversary report as well? I ask him to elaborate, but he's cut off before we can speak. His phone rings.
Excuse me for a moment.
He takes his phone out of his pocket and accepts the call.
Yes? What is it?
He looks around the room as he speaks. It's almost like he's frightened by who he's talking to.
No, it's all going well.
He gulps.
Of course. I'll make sure that it gets taken care of. No, I wouldn't dream of it. Like I said, it's all going well.
He locks eyes with me. For some reason, I'm terrified. I'm used to seeing him calm and collected. This is very unsettling. But he doesn't look away. It's almost like he's judging me.
The 5th, you said? Very well.
He breaks eye contact. I feel like I can breathe again. It's clear that his conversation is over as he nods once more.
Yes. Our future. Your way.
He hangs up and then smiles at me. A nervous smile.
Delta.
I gulp.
Do you mind if we pick this up tomorrow? I can pencil in another session. Something has come up.
I feel like I don't have a say in the matter, so I nod.
Thank you for being accommodating. I'll make sure that tomorrow goes a little better. Let's hope you get a good night's sleep, too.
Without another word, he looks down at his phone and starts tapping away. I take that as a sign to leave and make my way toward the exit. I can't shake this feeling, this awful paranoia. But I promised I'd pick up Dante's wallet at the Wayfarer. I have to follow through. I wouldn't want to let him down. But returning to the scene of the crime? It's scary. Oh well, here goes nothing. It will keep going, right? It's not gonna let me enter chapter 3. Ah. I entered the Wayfarer, passing the outdated security scan with ease. Good to know that it's not updated yet, in case we ever decide to come back here. It also gives me a sense of comfort that nobody was tipped off last night. We're in the clear. After approaching the bar, the proprietor walks towards me. My heart begins to race. For some reason, I felt I was about to get caught, like our action would catch up to us. However, with a friendly smile and a brief conversation, they hand back Dante's wallet. Of course, not without a comment about how outdated such an item is. Odd thing for someone to say when they pride themselves on their outdated aesthetic. That's outdated aesthetic? I like the aesthetic of this establishment. It's nice. It's a bit dark, but nice. I laughed to myself, realizing that everything was fine. I was probably just being scared after what Clace told me about the previous rebel groups. Of course, as I make my way to the exit, everything changes. No, Winds of Change. Out of the corner of my eye, I see somebody standing there, staring. I turn to face them, but much to my surprise, I see nobody there. Huh? My heart sinks to my stomach, but I'm relieved that I was seeing things. That is, until I close my eyes and shake my head. It should have granted me clarity. Ah, wonderful. This strange effect again. But instead, I see them again. I lock up in fright and start to tremble. I know exactly what they are. They are an agent of Argus. We lock eyes. They give me a sinister smile. In this exact moment, it feels like our link is undeniable. I want to look away, but I'm almost physically incapable. It feels like a chase could begin with any sudden movement, like I'm some sort of prey. I suppose we are with what we've been up to lately. Is this when it comes to an end? A moment later, their sinister smile turns into something more warm and friendly. They tilt their head behind them, as if signaling me to look. It's the back door. The very same one we used to sneak Chiron in last night. They must know. Then they hold up their paw, and the sight before me almost makes my heart stop. Resting in their palm is a single glistening apple. Are they mocking me? The back door, the apple. Symbols of our treason, my treason. There's no way. And everything is back to normal. Pretty normal. Just then, someone bumps into me and I stumble back. They apologize and move on. Oh god, Twitch, what are you doing? What are you doing, Twitch? You're reconnecting me to my chat. Okay. The music is a little bit strange. This is fine. But when I turn to look at the back door again, the agent is nowhere to be seen. Music, please. A wave of relief crashes down upon me, but worry still lingers. I may be safe now, but that moment changed everything. Perhaps it was meant to be a portent, a warning not to continue. Or perhaps the stress was getting to me, and it was simply my imagination. Either way, I take out my phone and text everybody. Meet me in the plane, immediately, all of you. Why are agents of Argus able to, like, literally exist in a way that people cannot see them? How is this possible? Unless, again, this might be entirely a Matrix scene. So yeah. I wish with all of my heart that what I saw in the Wayfarer wasn't real. But at the same time, with everything going on, it was too important to ignore. Okay. Now OBS wants to connect to chat. Okay. 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 In a state of anxiety, I hide in the plane and wait for my friends to arrive. Thankfully, there's plenty of snacks and drinks on the plane. A bit stale, like Chiron mentioned, but satisfying nonetheless. If we ever needed to truly hide, this would be our best bet. Can't shake this feeling though. I feel like I'm losing my mind. I was bottling everything up for so long that it's finally escaping? No, couldn't be. I'll talk with my friends and they'll put my mind at ease.
Hey, Delta! Sorry to keep you waiting. Figured I'd round everyone up and drive here together.
Can't believe he convinced me to get in that death trap.
It's not a death trap, it's homie.
If you're curious and you don't understand, like, this is a science fiction setting, right? So Isaac here on the right actually has like a vintage car, so to say. Think of a car from today that is not an electric car.
If your idea of a home is a torture chamber, sure. Can't believe people used to drive around in things like that.
Right? Think about it. If you ever have a driving license and you drive around and you had this problem of like, why is this guy in front of me or behind me driving like a madman and is like so bad at driving? Just remember, They have a driving license.
Like I keep saying, you'll thank me for having it one day.
That day is not today.
Anyway, what's up? That text was kind of worrisome.
For good reason. I saw an Argus agent.
You mean just minding their own business, right?
I say nothing.
Right?
Oh no. Shake my head.
What happened exactly?
I saw them at the Wayfarer when I picked up Dante's wallet.
Oh, I'll take that back, by the way.
I nod and toss him his wallet. He catches it with ease. They were standing by the back door, staring at me.
That doesn't mean they were after us, though. Maybe they realized someone snuck in there and upped the security.
They stared directly at me and held up an apple.
That is problematic.
That doesn't make sense. It's too perfect?
Remember what I said last week? Argus cracks down immediately. They wouldn't let us wander.
Yeah, they don't seem like the type to play mind games like this. If they were on our trail, we'd already be locked up.
Don't they have bigger fish to fry? You know, like with Hermes and Cypher? Kind of figured we were small time compared to that.
I feel like they don't believe me. Is it worth the risk to just disregard this?
Oh, we're not disregarding it. It just feels like we're missing a piece of the puzzle.
Maybe they think we're caught up with Hermes? They could be gathering intel before they act.
You mean during the con next week?
If they want to abide by his timeline, yeah. I really hope we're not caught in the crosshairs here.
Call me paranoid, but I just knew something would happen. Everything was going way too smoothly.
They were probably onto us from the start.
Are we gonna get in trouble?
You might, but I don't know about me. I feel like I'll just get kicked out and go back to my normal life.
You instill us with so much hope.
I like Dante. 1 second. This should be fine. Dante is always so positive.
Just part of the job, but you can't say I didn't warn you about this. Remember, I told you about my vision. Still on the colony.
What about Isaac's, though?
Has he actually told you what it is?
What do you mean?
Did he tell you what it is, or did you just take his word for it?
I don't like what you're implying.
Just speaking my mind, that's all. Don't really have a stake in all this business. I'm only here to enjoy life in the city for as long as I can.
But it's a good point.
I won't even consider it an option.
What are we considering exactly?
He seems a little bit lost in his diary, scribbling notes once more.
That Isaac lied about his vision and lured us into a dangerous situation. Or that he could be lying about any number of things he's said.
It could be Clay's too.
Huh?
Always staring at us, taking notes.
I'm not taking notes.
What are you writing in there then?
It's my diary.
Then you won't mind if I take a look.
Iron walks towards Clay's like he's on a mission. Almost immediately, however, Isaac blocks his path.
Chiron, stop. That's not how things work around here. In the city, we trust our friends until they give us a reason not to.
None of you see any reason.
I don't really see one.
I don't think we're being deceived, Chiron. If we get in trouble, it's just because we slipped up.
Chiron scoffs.
You trust too easily. It's a recipe for disaster, but I'm the odd one out, so I'll take your word for it.
Good. Just calm down, everybody.
I noticed that Clays looks terrified, clutching his diary to his chest.
Everything is gonna be fine. I promise. Delta, what you saw is alarming, but it's not a death sentence.
Or is it?
How so?
We're still safe. We can keep it that way. From this point on, we don't leave each other's sides.
Ooh, does that mean we get to sleep together too?
So typically Taylor.
Taylor,
Sorry.
if Argus is watching us, then we can't split up anymore. In fact, letting Delta go get your wallet was probably too risky.
He looks at Dante, who simply nods.
Works for me.
What about my streams?
We'll just chill in your living room or something.
And Delta's counselor sessions?
We can wait outside. I said we wouldn't split up. We'll all still be close by.
I like the sound of that, actually. Makes me feel a lot more safe.
Then I get to come to the Quantum Leap?
I suppose you do.
Seems like a win-win to me. Maybe you hook me up with that group chat too?
Well, it seems like we don't really have a choice.
This is all happening so suddenly, but seeing that agent was sudden too. Sticking as close together as possible makes sense, at least in my head. We could all be on the lookout, and we'd be a bit safer. Reminds me of those dumb characters in horror movies that always split up. It's a lot easier for the enemy to take us down one by one. Comparing my life to horror? Fantastic. I also don't think that one of us is a traitor or lying in any way. But sticking together would eliminate the possibility of shady activity. If we all kept tabs on each other, it would be a lot harder to do anything malicious.
But we need some ground rules, just in case this agent thing is actually real.
Actually real? What do you mean?
I mean, I hate to say it, but we didn't see anything. We just have Delta's word to go off of.
Are you saying Delta's lying?
No, perhaps they're just mistaken. I've been on edge a lot lately too, you know. Definitely thought I saw some stuff in the corner of my eye.
I did consider that it could all be in my head.
That's fair.
But that doesn't mean we shouldn't be cautious. If anything, this can just push us toward a better overall plan.
What did you have in mind?
Well, bathroom breaks, separate beds, and stuff like that. We can still give each other alone time, just in different rooms. The security in all of our houses is good enough to make that happen.
True. If anyone comes near my house, I'll know about it.
Mine too. So those should be our safe spaces.
And this plane?
Could be risky. In our homes, at least we're in control. I have no idea what's going on beneath the surface here.
If they could hear us in this plane, things would have ended a while ago. Remember, this is where you told us your grand plan.
Maybe that's what tipped them off.
And remember who suggested that we come here?
He tilts his head toward Glaze.
Chiron, you need to stop pointing fingers. We're all in this together, and we'll keep each other safe. Besides, I know Argus will give in to Cypher's demands.
You sound so certain it's almost coming off as cocky.
That may be, but I really believe it. And we can't get in trouble if this all goes our way. Like I said, we'd just be ahead of the curve.
Then we just need to buy time until Hermes' deadline.
I suppose so. It's what we would have done anyway.
Then what's the next step?
We should go to my place. Like I said, the security is top-notch. You know how much I value my privacy.
Yeah, don't want those wild fans to come knocking.
We can talk more about it there. This was all so haphazard, but I think it's a good start.
We all look at each other and nod. Even in this new situation, it feels like we're back to square one. I just have to hope that this ends in the favor of the Zeros and, by extension, us. Because if what we did is no longer bad, then we'd be in the clear, I think. But I remember some earlier discussions that Argus may have already decided in secret. If that's the case and they're also watching us, things could already be over. Part 3. Hard to find, easy to lose. Oh my god, we actually made it to chapter 3. Crazy.
Welcome to the third fragment map. This one functions exactly the same as the previous two. With that said, please continue enjoying your experience.
Enjoy your experience. Jesus. Well. But I shall stop here for now with Komorebi. There's a lot to do next time. It's certainly interesting, considering where we are right now, standpoint-wise. At this chapter, there's already a chapter 4 after that. Already, there will be a chapter 4 after this. So, it's gonna be interesting to see where this is leading. And this is a new screen I don't know about. This also might be a screen I don't know about. So yeah. The best part is like this game has no close myself button, which is amazing.